I love the smile on the face of Freddy Peralta. He is, and you can hear it in his voice right there. He is excited about pitching here in New York, going from this small market to the big market. You worked in Milwaukee for a time. Well, you know the difference there. How do you think he's going to fit into this Mets clubhouse?
Yeah, and I know Freddy Peralta fairly well, too. Okay. And the Mets paid a pretty high price for Freddy Peralta, and rightfully so. I think that at least that he was the best pitcher to get moved at the in the offseason as far as starting pitchers go. But the bonus here is his presence in the clubhouse. You saw it on the screen there in the video conference he had with reporters. That smile is large. It's infectious. It goes beyond that. He's the type of player that really connects other players, whether they're Latino, whether they're another demographic, whether they're young, whether they're veterans. It doesn't matter. Starting pitchers, position players, he connects them. He's that type of presence. He's that type of reputation. And I think that matters in their clubhouse and in any clubhouse for that matter. And it's especially cool to see a starting pitcher do that. That's really rare to have somebody who pitches once every 5 days be that type of guy.
Sure.
But that is Freddy Peralta in a nutshell. And as much as he has evolved as a pitcher, he was a guy who I remember everybody called him Fastball Freddy because all he threw was fastballs, right? He evolved from that on the mound. He also evolved as far as the clubhouse goes. He became that sort of leader for the Milwaukee Brewers. I could see him being that type of guy for the New York Mets as well because of his ability to connect with players of all ranges.
And I think the Mets need that, especially we heard the manager say, I think he was talking to the guys at the Post this week, Joel, and also John Heyman saying that they had a corporate clubhouse last year. You don't want a corporate clubhouse. Jim, how do you think Peralta, he's 29 years old, how do you think he can still improve?
Well, listen, it's hard to improve. He's been one of the top pitchers, like to what Will was talking about. You know, if you incorporated the free agents, he probably would have been at the top of that too if you were ranking it. I think in the last 15 years, or last 3 years, 15th in innings pitched, he's been 9th in strikeouts per 9. His ERA has been among the leaders. But I think one of the things that he talked about yesterday was going deeper into games.
Sure.
18 outs. He went more than that one time in last year, and he's just been a guy that's been mostly 6-inning starts. He can do that. He needs to be a little more aggressive in the strike zone. He talked about that, being more aggressive, early count outs, some of those things that we talk about from a pitcher side of things, from a starting pitching side. But you know, if he does that, I mean, it's going to benefit the Mets, but it's also going to benefit him on the free agent market if he gets there.
Yep, because going to be a free agent. He's scheduled to be a free agent after this upcoming season. We got to look at some numbers right now here on Freddy Peralta. Season ago, he won 17 games, pitched to the 2.70 ERA, 33 starts. Also worth noting, he has made at least 30 starts now in 3 consecutive seasons. Let's welcome in right now our friend Jerry Blevins. And Jerry, what about Peralta? How do you think he took his game and his time on the mound to another level this past season?
Thank you, Gary. To me, it was him learning himself. He's always been fastball Freddy, as Will mentioned, but I heard the interview that Andy Martino had with him, and he said he's more full menu Freddy now, and I think most of that dominance is because he's been able to get right-handers out at a better clip last year. In 24, they hit 770 OPS against him, which is slightly above an average major league hitter. Last year, it was a minuscule 591, and most of that is because he figured out his repertoire. He was a fastball changeup to lefties, which is devastating. Well, he learned that he's a fastball changeup guy to righties as well. Being able to throw that changeup right on right opens up not only that slider, but it makes that fastball, which he uses at 50%, even better. So I think it was his reliance on that changeup to either side hitters is what pushed him over the edge last season.
What about the Mets' appetite, Will, on an extension here before too long?
So not that anybody should really care about my opinion, but I'll give you my opinion first before we dive into the Mets. My opinion is, what's the rush here, right? I think that was a prudent answer, and from where the Mets stand, which is more important than how I feel like they're probably on the same page as far as being prudent about it, as in their focus is probably more so on 2026. Like, they just acquired this guy.
Sure.
They don't know exactly how he's going to play in New York. I think he'll be pretty good here. A lot of people in the industry think he'll be pretty good here. He wanted to be here, as we saw from the video. He has some family here, from what I understand. It is, on the surface, a very, very good fit. Let's see how it works out. Like, you're the New York Mets. You could afford to wait this out a little while, and maybe he does well. maybe he doesn't. Either way, you could make some huge plays in free agency the following year anyway. We just saw that list. It contains arguably the best pitcher in baseball. Maybe you want to make a play for him. So I wouldn't be like rushing into something with this, but I think from the Mets standpoint, they should be open to the idea. Right. I don't know how open they are, but they should be open to it. I don't know if they're going to rush into it quite yet.
All right, let's follow on that right now. Potentially, Jim, if they did do a deal, what could it look like?
Well, I think it's also fascinating. There's maybe a change of rules in 2027 where there's a salary cap. So you see a lot of short-term deals. That's primarily what the organization has been focusing on is short-term deals. But and they also develop pitching well. So I think that all has to kind of factor into any type of offer that you make to Freddy Peralta, and you hope that he's willing to take a discount or a little bit of a discount. But you also know he's coming off one where it was a steep discount there in Milwaukee. So I think where you see like some of the free agents this year, they got 5 years at 30 years old. In terms of a guy like Suarez as an example, I don't see the Mets going to 5 years on anything like that. If he was willing to do 4 years, and if it was around 28 to 30 million bucks,
right,
120 total, that might be in the possibility. And if he does have an agent that has done deals before, he was David Wright's agent. The Aces have been. They have also other Mets, Cliff Floyd back in the day. I think there's a willingness there. You could even do it into the season like they did with Francisco Lindor.